Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shayna, and as you can tell from the title, today we are going to be reviewing the latest release from Ledda, and this is 22 Orris. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, then just keep on watching. For those of you that are returning subscribers, thank you so much. I truly appreciate having you on this channel. And for those of you that are new, please don't forget to subscribe. It truly helps me out and I would love to have you here. We talk about fragrance, skincare, and makeup. So yep, if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, then please do consider subscribing. Now let's just get into the video. So as some of you may know, Stephanie Ledda, who I believe her handle is like SMLx0 or something like that. I'll put her picture up here so you guys know who I'm talking about in case you don't. She's been on YouTube for a very long time, and so she actually came out with a fragrance, which I think is so cool because I have seen some of her fragrance videos in the past, but I didn't realize that she was going to come out with her own. So I thought that was really awesome. So I went ahead and purchased it myself, and it's here. This is what the box looks like. So I think it's actually very sort of chic and sophisticated. The font, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Prada font. So here's a cute box. It says Ledda 22 Orris is the name. It's an eau de parfum. This is a 1.7 fluid ounce. I believe there's only one size right now. And on the sides embossed are little, it says 22. You can't really see it because it's just embossed. But yeah, let's open this together. So it opens up, and then here is the really sort of, I would say very, almost a little bit vintage looking. I really think this is a gorgeous bottle. Like I'm impressed with the bottle for sure. So here we have a close-up for you guys. Okay, so let's look on the website together and see what this fragrance is described as. So it says 22 Orris. 22 Orris captures the feeling of a fleeting moment with someone you adore, melting into your skin to leave a long-lasting imprint of happiness. So I don't know, I think that's kind of cute. I think I read or heard her say that, you know, fragrance is something that's really near and dear to her just because fragrances are often, you know, very much associated with memories, and it's one of my biggest loves in terms of why I like fragrances because of that exact, you know, reason. They can take me back to a beautiful time. They can also take you back to a bad time. So there's pros and cons. But for the majority, I would say most of my fragrances take me back to really good times. So yeah, I think this is just a stunning bottle. It's a little bit vintage, but yet it's still, you know, modern. It's a nice sort of combination of both. It has like a paper label that's nicely set into the bottle, and then it actually has a very heavy weighted cap, and the bottle itself is very feels very high quality and nice heavy glass. So overall, bottle style, 10 out of 10. Love it. Think it's very chic, very sophisticated. I also thought this was interesting because it says that this fragrance is actually manufactured here in the US, which I find absolutely amazing, and I love that. It says I believe the ingredients are sourced from, you know, different parts of the world, but that the actual fragrance is made in the US. So I love that. And yeah, I'm sure you're all very interested to get into the notes. So let's get into that right now. So this perfume retails for $98 US, and you get 50 mils or 1.7 fluid ounces. And this is an eau de parfum concentration. I think I mentioned that. It's vegan, cruelty free, and sulfate free. And yeah, let's just read about what this says on the website. So 22 Orris is a unique yet subtle blend of buttery iris, sandalwood, and soft musk. So the notes we have are in the top, pear leaf, pink pepper, and wild freesia. In the middle, we have sheer jasmine, lily of the valley, and orris. And in the base, we have sandalwood, marshmallow musks, and a touch of moss. It says pink pepper, pear leaf, and fresh wild freesia combined with sheer jasmine, creamy orris extracts, and lily of the valley create a warm, intimate fragrance. The name for our debut scent is inspired by the year of our brand launch, 2022, and 10 p.m., an intimate time of day for most. Wear 22 Orris when you're most comfortable alone or with someone you love. So, and then it goes on to talk about, you know, the different ingredients, the different notes. So you guys, let's just spray this together and I will give you my thoughts. Okay, here we go. I've actually been wearing this, so I know exactly what it smells like. Okay. Okay, so right off the bat, the first sort of thing that I get is a gorgeous pear note. Yeah, a really nice pear note. I'm gonna get into something in a bit, which might come as a surprise, I don't know, but yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I get a gorgeous pear note. It's very soft and refined. This is not a fragrance that's going to like knock your socks off in terms of like its projection or anything like that. This, like it already said on the website, is not like one of those beast mode fragrances. This is more of like your intimate sort of fragrance. It's not like right up in your face. I would say this fragrance is, you know, it's one that is going to be appropriate for the office or just wearing around the house. But if you're looking for a fragrance that is going to be like extremely bold, I wouldn't say that this is the fragrance for you. I would say this is a very subtly sweet fragrance coming from that pear. I know it says pear leaf, so, you know, it's not your like juicy ripe pear. While it does definitely have that pear note, it's not a juicy ripe pear. Okay, guys, so here's where I don't know if anybody has talked about this yet or mentioned it. However, when I first sprayed this, you guys, it instantly, and I mean instantly, reminded me of Clean Reserve Radiant Nectar. Now, what's funny is I actually just picked that fragrance up during the Sephora sale, and so it was fresh in my mind because I had just been wearing it. And when I sprayed this, you guys, it just, I'm not trying to exaggerate or say that this is like a dupe or anything like that. It's not a dupe. Like, I don't think that was what it was meant to be. However, you guys, the two fragrances are very, and I mean very, very, very similar. You know, I don't think that's something that she probably wants to hear, and you know, I kind of feel bad for saying it, but I mean, that's just the truth. Like, they are very similar fragrances. So if you already own, you know, Clean Reserve Radiant Nectar, I don't think that you need to get this, and vice versa. So if you get this and don't have Clean Reserve Radiant Nectar, there's absolutely no reason why you would need to have both. It's a little bit disappointing for me just because I already have Clean Reserve Radiant Nectar. So I was really hoping for something, you know, totally new, and you know, I was just a little, I just wanted it to be something that I'd never smelled before, and when I smelled it for the first time, it was just like, you know, they're just so similar. So let's just get into the notes of Radiant Nectar so that you can see why these two are so similar. Okay, so you guys, for Radiant Nectar, in the top we have pear, and then we have ambrette. In the middle we have tobacco blossom, orris, and carrot seeds. And in the base we have musk, ambroxan, and white cedar extract. And so right there, I mean, you already have very similar notes. You've got the pear, you've got the orris, you've got the musk. And so, you know, whilst there are a little bit different notes, like the tobacco blossom and the carrot seeds and the ambrette, you know, the overall sort of feel and scent that I get from both of these are just like a very, very similar fragrance. The one thing I will say about the Radiant Nectar is that it is much more juicy. So the Radiant Nectar to me has much more of like a fruity, juicy quality to it because you know, it has the actual pear fruit. Whereas 22 Orris, this has pear leaf. So this one is going to be your little bit subdued version of Radiant Nectar. For me, Radiant Nectar is it's a little bit stronger and it lasts a little bit longer. That fruitiness from the pear definitely lingers longer. Whereas this one, since it doesn't have that juicy, fruity aspect to it, this one just, it's a little bit, I would say, of a more elegant and sophisticated version. They both have very similar DNAs, but this just doesn't have that like real fruitiness to it. Whereas for me, the Radiant Nectar, when I smell them, so I actually wore one on each arm one day just so that I could really compare them. And that would be my main sort of differentiation between the two. The Radiant Nectar has a juicy quality to it, whereas this has more of a refined sort of, I wouldn't say floral, but just not so much of that juiciness, if that makes any sense. So I wish that I hadn't smelled Radiant Nectar so soon or so close to when I smelled this one, because you know, then I probably would have been wowed by this, because I really do love Radiant Nectar. I think they're both, I mean, both of them are really gorgeous fragrances. So yeah, if you haven't smelled Radiant Nectar though, then, you know, I would definitely try to get your nose on this. I always, you know, want to support other YouTubers and people in the community. So, you know, I'm glad that I picked this up. Do I think that I also need to pick up like a full bottle of Radiant Nectar? No, because I already have the travel size. And so what I think will be a good way for me to use these is to spray this. And then throughout the day, if I want to touch up, I can use the Radiant Nectar. The longevity on this is not as good as Radiant Nectar. I would say this is definitely the more intimate version. It's not, I wouldn't say that this is a fragrance that, you know, only you would be able to enjoy. It's definitely got some projection, and definitely those around you would be able to smell it. But I just think Radiant Nectar has more of that projection quality to it because of that juiciness from the pear. Whereas this one, I would say, you know, this is a fragrance that I could just wear around the house and be perfectly fine, and I wouldn't be like choking myself out or anything. Whereas Radiant Nectar has more of that like slightly more of that like projection quality to it. The overall, like, so if just to give you an idea of the DNA, when it references marshmallow musks, I'm not exactly sure what that means, just because I don't really, you know, I can't really say I get like a marshmallowy aspect to it. It just has a sweet musk. So ambrette to me is one of my favorite musk notes in fragrance. It's one of my favorite notes in general. To me, ambrette is a very sweet musk, and so maybe this has ambrette in it too. So that's why they're calling it marshmallow musk, because it has that ambrette. But I would just say this is a slightly less sweet and juicy version of Radiant Nectar. So yeah, I think it's a really, really nice fragrance. I'm just, like I said, it's just so similar to Radiant Nectar that I just feel like, you know, I have this DNA in my collection already. It would be almost the same as like saying like BR540, Cloud, Tiziana Terenzi, the Spirito Fiorentino, and you know, I'm sure there's so many other dupes of BR540 out there. Like they all have that very similar DNA running through. This and Radiant Nectar to me have that exact same thing. Like they're very similar in their DNA. I really love the DNA. So if you're somebody that likes pear, if you're somebody that likes musk, you know, you can't go wrong. Like this is a gorgeous fragrance. I think a lot of people will like it. You know, this has Orris in it, which I understand. Like it has that little bit of sort of a buttery powderiness to it, but it's not overly powdery at all. Like I don't get an overly powderiness from this. The dry downs on the Radiant Nectar in this are slightly different. I would say the dry down on Radiant Nectar has still got that fruity aspect to it, whereas this, the dry down on me becomes slightly more of that Orris and Iris mixed in. So, you know, they have different dry downs, but just the overall feeling of this just instantly reminded me of Radiant Nectar. So yeah, gorgeous fragrance. I think it's just a stunning launch. I think she knocked it out of the park. Like it's a gorgeous fragrance. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. So yeah, just a little bit, you know, disappointed that I have something in my collection that's very similar, but yeah, I think the bottle is gorgeous, and yeah, so that is my overall review, you guys, of Ledda's 22 Orris. I'm super excited to see what else she's coming out with. Like, I'm very excited because I really do enjoy this. And so I'm excited to see what else she has coming out. If clearly we like the same fragrances, because I think this is gorgeous and I really like the DNA. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like whatever else she comes out with in the future. And so yeah, congratulations to her. I think she's also expecting a little one soon, so that's also very exciting. It's like this is, you know, her first baby, and then she has a real baby coming soon. So congratulations to her on that. And yeah, so very excited to see what else this brand has to offer. So yeah, you guys, leave me a comment down below if you've tried this, if you've tried Radiant Nectar, if you like it. I'd love to know your thoughts. And yeah, so I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.